Hey, and thank you for joining me for practice this afternoon. Let's get started by bringing our feet together and just laying down on our back. You may open your arms up, having a bend 90 degrees at your elbow. And just begin to focus on your breath. Letting yourself gently sink down to the floor. Noticing where you are tense. Just taking a little extra care to relax those places. Props are always available. Maybe you can have a towel outside of your knees or blocks, pillows, all good options. Just trying to find a place to make you feel grounded and comfortable. The more comfortable you are, the more you can ground yourself to your mat, relaxing and focusing on the breath. Relaxing the forehead, the eyelids, the cheeks and the jaw, the mouth and chin, the throat and the back of the neck. Breathing space into the shoulders and the bicep. Resting the forearms, the back of the hand, the palm, and the fingers. Bringing breath into the chest. Relaxing the hips, the quads, the hamstrings, the top of the leg. Relaxing the knees, the calf muscle and the shin. Relaxing the ankle, the tops of the feet, and the soles of the feet, and the toes. Finding your breath deepen, feeling the rib cage expand at the sides and the back, as well as the front. And feeling the belly lift as you bring in breath. Exhaling, bringing the belly to the spine, but not with force, being gentle and just complete. And take your hands, lifting those thighs up. Just bring the knees into the chest. Let's open the arms out long, then drop the knees over to one side, turning your gaze to the opposite. So I have dropped my knees to my right, and I'm gazing out over my left hand. You might even take your opposite hand and put it onto your thigh, your top thigh, just resting it there. not really holding it in place, just adding a little security. Deepen the stretch just a touch. Let's straighten that leg now, that top leg only. Maybe having a little bend in it. And if it doesn't feel comfortable to straighten it, you can keep it bent. Bending the knee back, placing both hands outside so you can lift your knees up to center. Take a nice breath. Notice the difference between one side and the other. And exhaling, bringing those knees down on the opposite side. Gazing out over, now I'm over my right shoulder. And maybe taking that opposite hand on your top thigh. And if you did so on the other side, straighten that top leg. And depending on where your knees are placed in this stretch, you will feel it differently in the lower back. So sometimes you may want to lift your knees higher or have them lower, whatever's speaking to you. Let's bend that top knee again, lifting up both knees. Bring them into the chest. Just lift up the head and the neck, giving a tight little ball of a squeeze. And release. Now let's come into a happy baby position. Having the knees bent and just grabbing a hold of the outside edges of your feet. And just try to pull those knees toward the armpits, but keeping the tailbone down. You may want to rock back and forth a little, just trying to find a little more deepness in this position. Keep inhaling, lengthening the spine, dropping that tailbone. Just bringing those knees down gently along the side body. And always making time to find out what works for you, not just struggling through a position that may not be very comfortable or maybe awkward. Just finding your approach, whether that's with stillness or with movement, it doesn't matter. Keep breathing, lengthening. And let's release. Let's take that left leg and bring it long. And just bring your right knee in. Now straighten that leg. You can use a strap for this, or have your hand on the back of your thigh or your calf, or even your big toe. Trying to keep that left leg flat on the floor. And release. Let's open that thigh up. So the sole of the right foot goes into the thigh of the left leg. And let's straighten that out. Taking that left leg now, bending it, bringing the knee into the chest. And keeping that straight leg active, the toes pointed up, pressing the thigh down to the floor. And let's take that left leg and straighten it. Again, using maybe the same option that you used on the previous leg, either grabbing the thigh, the calf, using a strap around the foot, or just grabbing your big toe. And let's open it up now to the left. So our knee is pointed to the left and the foot is against the right thigh. And let's straighten the leg. And pressing out the heels of the feet. Extend the arms overhead and come into a nice full body stretch. Nice big inhale. Exhale. Relaxing. Do that again, pressing out of the feet. Hands are overhead, reaching. Inhale. Exhale. Let's bring the knees in. Rocking from side to side, massaging the back, massaging the spine. And come over to one side, rolling yourself up. From here, maybe sit directly on the floor, or you might want to block and put it under your rear and just sit down and find a comfortable place to be. Just closing the eyes, relaxing the shoulders, dropping the chin. Let's roll the shoulders back. So shoulder blades stay down. And we'll start to make some rolls of the neck in one direction. Being mindful of those shoulders, they stay down and relaxed. And taking as much care as you need for your neck rolls. And switching directions when you're ready. Notice the difference. Maybe some places that weren't so bad one direction, or a little more tense the opposite direction. And keep breathing as we come back to center. Let's take our left hand, reaching it out, and tilt your head to the right. Pressing out of the heel of that left hand. And come back to center. Do that on the opposite side, extending the right arm now, pressing out of the heel of the hand, and just lean your neck over to the left. And this time, let's take our hands and we will bind our fingers together and bring it up behind our lower back, opening the chest, dropping the chin down again. Inhale, lifting the neck, dropping it over to one side. So I'm dropping my right ear down to my right shoulder. Just breathing into that, opening the shoulders. And come back to center. Exhaling, dropping to the opposite side. So my left ear is toward my left shoulder. And keeping that chest lifted, but the rib cage is in. Maybe a little bit of push of the hands into the lower back. Inhale, coming up. Let's take those hands, binding them together in front of us now, and flipping them inside out. So the palm is facing outward. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. Lifting up out of the lower back, lengthening the spine. And let's exhale, releasing the hands. And doing that again. Taking the hands in front of you, binding, and then flipping the palms outside. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Lifting out of that lower back. Shoulders are way away from the ears, they're down. Exhale, releasing the hands. And let's reach the arms out long. And then pull the shoulders back. And reaching them forward. And pulling them back. Reaching them forward, separating those shoulder blades. And then pull the shoulder blades together behind you when you're pulling back. You're not changing the length of your arms. You're only making movement in the upper shoulder blades. Reaching forward. And then pulling back. Let's take our hands to our chest. And just try to move that upper spine, lifting up. Exhale, curving that upper back under, only the upper back. Inhale, lifting the chest, not moving the rib cage. Exhale, bring it in. And then just release. Let's see if you feel an expansion in your chest. More space has been created. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's something to try again later and see if your experience develops or changes. Okay, so coming up onto our hands and knees. So the hands, fingers are spread wide, and the hands are directly under the shoulders. Our knees are under our hips. We'll take some cat-cows. Inhaling, lifting that chest. So this is similar to what we just did, except now we're working with our full spine, full inflection. Exhale, scooping the belly under, separating those shoulder blades, just like we did with their arms. Inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone. Shoulder blades come together. Exhale, scooping under. Shoulders are separate. Inhale, lifting the chest. The shoulder blades are together again. Tailbone is up. Belly is dropped. Exhale, scoop it under. Let's come back to center. Extending that right leg, pressing out of the heel of the foot. Stretching your ankle and your calf. And now let's lift up that leg. Look down. See where your toes are pointed. Your toes should be pointed downward. And your pelvis is straight in line with the mat. Inhale, lifting up the left arm. And just press out of the heel and lengthen at those fingertips. Gazing down at your mat. Exhale, bring that left hand down and take that right foot and open it up by the right hand. Tuck your left toes and pull your hip. Pull the left hip back over to the left ankle. And you may want to bring your right toes up, or you can keep them planted, whatever your preference. Working on a stretch of the inner thigh, the calf. And coming forward, lift that right leg up, bring it all the way back, down onto the knee. Let's extend that left leg now, pressing out of the heel, stretching the ankle and the calf. And maybe notice how your pelvic alignment is right now. Making sure things are level, you're not picking up one hip higher than the other. And lifting up that left leg, gaze down, see where your toes are, make sure they're pointed downward. And take your right arm and extend it, reaching out. And plant that right hand now, taking the left leg and bring it all the way over by your left hand, tucking the back toes, and pulling the hips back to the right foot. Keep breathing, staying relaxed in your jaw, and your shoulders, and your neck. Notice any places you may have tension. Maybe back off a little bit if you're a little uncomfortable. Trying to find that balance between ease and effort. Coming back forward, pulling that left leg back again, back onto our hands and knees. Let's do that again. Reaching that right leg out, lifting it up. And this time, let's lift it up as high as we can, making sure our toes are still pointed downward before we lift too far up. And let's take a couple pulses. 8, 9, 10. Take that left hand, reach it out. Press straight out of the heel of the foot, straight out of the hand, out of the fingertips, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And drop that left hand. And let's bring that right foot all the way to the right hand again. Tucking the left toes, pulling the hips back again. And coming forward, lifting up that right leg, bring it all the way back and down. Now extending that left leg, looking at where our toes are, lifting it up and pulse 10 times. And lifting up that right arm, reaching everything long. Keep that left hip down, not letting it lift higher than the right. Breathe. Plant that right hand, take that left leg and bring it all the way to the left hand, tucking the right toes, pulling the hips back. Coming back up, lifting up that right leg, and then bringing it all the way back. Let's widen our knees to the length or width of the mat. Toes are together. Pull the hips back, coming into child's pose. Pulling those hips back closer to the heels of the feet. And press into the hands. Let's come into a down dog. Lifting the hips up. And fingers are spread wide. Gripping the mat. Bending your knees as much as you need to. And this is another pose where you may want to have motion to it by pedaling your feet out. Maybe swaying the hips. And finally coming to a place of stillness when you're ready. Let's drop to our knees. Pivot your right foot out, staying on your knee, and then inhale, reaching out of the left leg and the left arm. We're in a modified side plank. Exhale, bringing that left hand down and your left knee. Let's do that on the opposite side. Pivoting that left foot out now this time, reaching the right out long. Inhale, reaching, stretching. You may want to reach your arm straight up or go for a complete side body stretch, reaching it over your head. Exhale, hand comes down, and so does the right knee. Coming back into a down dog. Inhale up your right leg. Lift it a little higher, keeping that right hip down. Now open that hip, bending that knee toward the ceiling, flexing the foot. And on your exhale, bring the knee into the chest and then plant that foot down on the mat, dropping the back knee. You can just keep your hands here for a moment. Just relaxing that hip flexor. Press into the foot. Inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the arms. And let's twist over to the right, opening the arms up. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, bringing the hands forward. Step back into your plank. Inhale, lifting up the left leg, pressing out of the left hand. Reach that leg higher. Letting that right heel sink down to the mat. Now open that hip, bringing the knee up to the ceiling, flexing the foot. Exhaling, bringing the knee into the chest. And then planting the foot, dropping that back knee, holding here. And stretching the ankle as well as the right hip flexor. Press into the foot. Inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the arms. And let's twist over to the left, opening those arms up. Making sure your left knee is still over the ankle, not bowing out. Inhale, lifting up again with the arms, coming to center. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Down dog. And let's tiptoe our way to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Letting that tailbone come up, the belly drop, the chest lift. Just like in our cat-cow. Exhaling. Scooping the belly under. Pressing our hands firmly into the mat. Bending your knees if you need to. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Exhale, hands come down to our sides. Let's step back with one foot. So now our toes are pointed to the long edge of the mat. Inhale, lifting up the chest. Noticing where your hip bones are. And exhaling, folding from that hip crease halfway. Bringing the hands down to the mat. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward all the way, walking the hands between the feet. Keep pressing into those feet, especially the outer edge of the foot. lifting those hips up. Inhale, halfway lift, and let's bend into that left knee just a little. And we'll switch sides, maybe walking your hands over just a bit, bending into the right knee. Coming back to the left. And walking back to the right. Maybe dropping those hips a little bit more, which each time we do this. Walking to the left. And now walk over to the right. Finally coming back to center. Let's grab onto our big toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Bring the elbows back. And release the toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the hip crease. Next inhale, come all the way up, pressing into the feet. And let's step forward. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat. And step back into a plank. Keep pressing. Keep breathing. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, back to your down dog. Back forward to our plank. Exhale, come all the way down. Lengthen the legs out. Inhale, lifting the chest. Coming into a cobra. Using only the muscles of the back, not pressing into your hands. Exhale, come down. Inhale, lifting up. Lift up a little bit more on your inhale. And start to press into your hands, keeping the hips down. Keep breathing. And then exhale, coming all the way down. Let's come back into a child's pose. Coming forward and back into our down dog. Come forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the sides. Let's bring our weight into our right leg. Left foot comes back behind us on your tiptoes. Begin to tilt forward for a warrior three. Pressing out of the heel of the left foot. And then come back to standing. Let's shift our weight into the left foot. When you're ready, tilting forward, coming into our warrior three on the opposite side. Up dog in the chest. And then come back to standing. And you can have your hands at your hips or overhead or behind you for any of this. Maybe prayer hands reverse behind you or grabbing your elbows. Let's lift up the right leg. And straighten it out. Bend it again. Open the hip. And bring it back to center. And then step back, releasing the arms in a crescent. High lunge. Let's drop the knee down once. Rise up. Drop it again. Rise up. 3. 2 more times. 4. And 5. Open up for a warrior 2. Changing your alignment a little if needed. Lift the chest. Make sure you can see your big toe in front of you. Exhale, coming into a reverse warrior. Inhale back to warrior 2. Pivot back onto those back toes, back into our high lunge. Exhale, bringing the chest down to the thighs and press up into a warrior 3 again. And release, back to standing. And bringing your hands the same way as you had them on the other side. Inhale, lifting up that left knee. Straighten the leg. Keep lifting it up. And bend it back. Open it up. And bring it back forward. And reach it back, releasing the arms into our high lunge. Taking our 5 dips. Bring the knee down, lift it up. Bring it down, lift it up. Bring it down, lift it up. Bring it down, lift it up. One more time, down, up. And bring your chest down to your thigh. Coming into our warrior 3. And then back to standing. Let's widen our feet to the width of the mat. Maybe having our toes pointed out. Hands to our heart. Exhale, coming into a squat. This is our Malasana or yogi squat. Keep inhaling, lifting the chest up. Pressing those thighs into the elbows. And then exhale. Let's drop down to the mat. Lengthen the legs out. Pressing our hands into the mat. Finding our hip crease. Exhale, folding forward. Pressing the thighs into the mat. And slowly release. Let's bring our heels together. Bring the feet toward the body. Open up the toes. Letting the hips drop. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, folding forward. Coming to release. Planting the feet. Sliding our tail forward. Laying our mat or back down on the mat. Get to where you can just touch your heels a little bit wider than the hip width. Press into the feet and come up into a bridge. Keep breathing. Keep pressing into those feet. Lifting the hips. Squeezing the glutes. Exhale, release. Let's widen the feet. Bring the knees side to side. Releasing the lower back. And taking your right foot on top of your left knee. Press your right hand into that right thigh, just opening it up a little. And then release. Bring in that left knee. And now use your right elbow to prop open that right knee. Release. Let's switch sides. Left knee or left ankle on the right knee. Press open that hip. And then bring in that right knee, propping open with the left elbow. And release. Bring the feet down and your arms down to a final pose of Shavasana. Letting the mind and the body and the spirit relax. Feeling grounded underneath you. And staying here in your Shavasana for as long as you need to before finally rolling over to one side. Having peace and gratitude for all things on our path. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.